Let's talk about how to know if you're making progress at the gym, if your goals are to build muscle and potentially also lose fat in the process through a process called body recomposition. And I felt like this would be a perfect topic for me to share about since it's currently week 3 of me getting back into the gym after an extended break, like half a year off, and as I'm working towards building muscle and losing a bit of fat in the process. So in this video, I'm going to break down what does and also doesn't mean that you're making progress, and also sharing timestamps and things to look for throughout the first 6 months of your muscle building and fat loss journey. Because let's be real, body recomposition, if you want to really build muscle and lose fat, those are going to involve metabolic changes in your body. Changing your body composition is a process that takes months, not weeks. So let's start with month 1 because it can be a little bit deceiving, especially if you're completely new to any resistance training, or if you're brand new to having consistently resistance trained, like using weights or even using bodyweight exercises to build muscle. And that's because you can start to see changes in the first few weeks that might make you feel like you're going backwards in progress or you're not making progress at all, but you actually are, and they're just short-term changes that can kind of throw you off. So a few things you might be seeing in the first month of you starting this new resistance training journey is the scale might go up. It's normal to notice your scale weight fluctuate already on a daily and weekly basis, but you might see your scale weight go up a little bit more. You might feel a little bit more bloated or even quote unquote heavier in your body. And this is because your muscles aren't used to being inflamed. In order to build muscle, we go through the process where you break down your muscle using weights or bodyweight exercises to resist your muscle fibers. So they break down, and then when we give them enough protein and rest and recovery, they rebuild bigger, which is how you actually grow muscle. But month 1, your muscles aren't used to being so inflamed. It's not a bad thing that they're inflamed, but it's likely that they're going to retain a bit more water, which might make you feel a little bit bigger. The weight on the scale might go up a little bit more. And also, I would just like to put in a little comment of screw the scale. It's not the best way to track body composition changes of growing muscle and also losing fat. The first time I was going through body recomposition, I even gained weight, so the scale weight went up, but I looked more lean toned than I ever had before. I felt stronger. I felt so much better in my body. I had more energy. So the scale is not my favorite method of tracking. So month 1, just try not to take the scale weight or body fluctuations too seriously into account. The first few weeks already are going to be a little bit more challenging, especially if you're completely new, getting used to new exercises, how the movement feels in your body, the correct form. Even being in the gym itself as a new environment might be intimidating. And so a great thing to focus on in month 1 is just getting into the routine, just showing up. It's going to feel uncomfortable, but finding that routine of consistently getting yourself to the gym, feeling more comfortable in the movement patterns, not even focusing on adding a ton of weight at the beginning, but just getting more comfortable with the movement and the form of exercises. But 2 things you can kind of focus on month 1 are, 1, going to be your mind-muscle connection. Do you feel like you're really feeling and pushing your muscles as you're working through an exercise? Do you feel the burn in your muscles? And just becoming more familiar with these movement patterns, that mind-muscle connection will strengthen over time. And number 2, you might notice your energy is a little different. Like checking in with your body and your energy throughout the day and also weeks, you might notice that your mood is just a little bit better. You might be a little bit more focused during the day. You might just have a little bit more energy. I noticed all of these 3 things within the first 3 weeks of lifting consistently, and this is week 3, so feeling good, feeling great. Okay, quick recap. First month or so, focusing on sticking to the routine, doing the movements, not necessarily increasing a ton of weight, but just your body getting used to it, and showing up to the gym, showing up to your workouts. If you're also focusing on nutrition, just kind of tapping into that a little bit more, and you might see some mood changes, but trying not to focus too much on your scale weight or any changes in your actual body composition, which you probably won't see any month 1, so don't fret about that. Now, months 1 to 3, you will probably be feeling quite a bit more comfortable in the actual exercises and the movement form-wise. So now is when you can shift to more of a focus on pushing yourself close to failure or within 1 to 3 reps of failure, so that you're really challenging your muscles in each set. So a few ways that you know that you're actually making progress in your goals of building muscle and potentially losing fat is you might start seeing that now you can add on weight to the exercises you were doing. If you're in the gym, you're going to see that you might be able to actually increase the weight and the challenge that you have for your resistance training. So now maybe you can do 30 kilos instead of 20 before on your RDLs. Or if your focus is more on bodyweight training, calisthenics, that type of thing, you might see that your sets and reps are increasing. Or you can do a slightly harder variation. Maybe before you could only do incline incline push-ups, and now you're all the way at floor push-ups. So you might be seeing some changes in that way. I mean, hopefully your trainer or workout program has already added in progressive overloads, so your reps and sets will be getting more challenging with time anyway, but you feeling stronger and an increase in the weights that you can push are great signs that you are making more progress. Months 1 to 3, you also might start to see some changes in your body physique, in your body composition. So your muscle might be becoming a little bit more defined from a combination of potentially losing fat or even gaining a little bit of muscle. And this is going to be really dependent both on your nutrition, if you're in a calorie deficit or not, and your training plan. But remember, faster isn't necessarily better. So you might start to notice these things, especially towards the end of month 3, but I would still say try not to fixate on your physique or any of these crazy changes in months 1 to 3, because it's really going to be a little bit more of a long term for any metabolic changes. But I would say still try not to fixate too much on your physique and changes in body composition in months 1 to 3. Those are going to come with time, and I would really think about challenging yourself and pushing yourself in each workout and hopefully see some strength gains as well. Now, moving into months 3 to 6, you're probably going to be seeing some body composition changes as well as strength changes and strength improvements in months 3 to 6. So at this point, if you're seeing progress, you're going to see both your weights increase in the gym. If you're pushing weights, you might be able to do more challenging calisthenics exercises, or even if you were training for specific calisthenic skills, you might have already unlocked those. And you're likely going to be seeing some body composition changes, aka you're going to potentially have a bit more muscle and or look a bit leaner depending on, again, your nutrition and your specific goals. Okay, shifting gears, let's talk about a few signs that you've had a good workout and if you're making progress. And first, I wanted to talk about things that do not actually mean that you're making progress in the gym. And these actually tricked me for years, but the two big ones we're going to go over. Let's start with number 1. How much you sweat is not a sign that you've actually had a good workout. And what I mean by that is how much you sweat does not necessarily mean that you've challenged and broken down your muscle in a way that will allow you to rebuild it. Sweating can vary so much depending on your climate and the humidity level outside, as well as how hydrated you are. And also genetics plays a huge role. Like, guys, I'm a sweaty girl. I'm sweatier than most people. Put me on the treadmill for about 3 minutes and I will be dripping. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I burnt more calories or broke down my muscles more in a way that will rebuild them up to build muscle. It just means that more water came out of my body and I have more sweat stains. But I do think that sometimes when you sweat, it feels like you're having a good workout, especially if you were raised with the whole mindset of, the more sweaty you are, the better your workout was. Like, I was raised like that. I had that mindset for so long. So now, even to this day, if I've sweat a ton, sometimes it can feel really good. Feels like you're reborn and stuff, but it doesn't actually necessarily mean that I had a great workout in the sense of challenging and building muscles. That was myth number 1 that got me for so long. Myth number 2 is how sore you are. So this one's a little bit tricky because how sore you are doesn't necessarily mean that you fatigued your muscles in a way that will break them down and rebuild them up. So if the goal is to build muscle, see increase in the size of your muscle and also the strength of your muscle, you need to challenge your muscle in a way that breaks it down. And when you get sore, it means that your body has moved in a way that it hasn't in a while. It's not familiar with it. So you could do any new exercise and get potentially sore from it if your body hasn't done it in a while, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you've broken down and built the muscles that you're looking to. And in fact, you might have had an amazing workout, really challenged yourself, broken down your muscle, worked 1 to 3 reps of failure, and felt that muscular fatigue in the workout. You were really pushing yourself hard, but the next day you might not be sore very much, or even at all the day after. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not making progress in growing muscle. So I wouldn't rely too much on soreness being an amazing sign. Like, if you're not sore after your workouts, don't be like, oh man, I didn't work hard enough. What are a few signs, though, that you've had a good workout, that you have built muscle, that you've challenged your muscles to the level? One thing is, are you training within 1 to 3 reps of failure? And I feel like everyone talks about this, but truth be told, when I actually push myself to the point where I'm really struggling, like I can't barely do any more, I've actually seen so much more progress. And I think part of this is a big mental component, especially if you're newer to the gym. I know in the first year or so, I was so scared about really pushing myself, but then I had friends spot me. I just tried a little bit harder, and what I found is I wasn't even pushing myself close to within failure, and therefore not being very efficient in challenging myself to build muscle. A few ways that you know that you're coming within those 1 to 3 reps of failure is the actual movement of you pushing or pulling will slow down. So when you approach muscular fatigue, the velocity, the speed that you can actually perform the motion, perform the exercise, is going to slow down because your muscles are getting closer to failure. You also might start making struggle bus faces, you know those faces when you're going really, really hard and your face scrunches up and it doesn't look the cutest? Yeah, that's me every single workout. And those are a good sign that you're pushing yourself really hard and might be coming closer to failure as well. So overall, a few signs that you're making progress towards your goals of building muscle is over time, can you lift heavier? Are you pushing heavier weights? Are you doing more reps of calisthenics exercises? Like, could you only do 5 push-ups before and now you can do like 20? That's a good sign. Good sign that you're building muscle and strength. Also, your clothes might fit differently. So physique changes. For me, the first time that I focused on building muscle and changing my body composition, I didn't actually go up a size in clothes at first. I just noticed they fit different. So like the waist wasn't quite as tight. It was a bit tighter on the booty and the thighs. And then over time, I did have to go up a size because the booty didn't fit. You might even go down a size in clothing, and it's pretty dependent on your personal body, but you also might notice a bit more muscular definition, which comes with losing fat and or building muscle. So those are just a few things to look for to know that you're making progress along the journey.
This is the vibe. We've got a cute top and then sweatpants. I'm gonna change.
By the way, it's week 3 of me getting back into it. This week was, that time of the month. Things just felt a bit more tired, a bit more bloated. I was like, what am I doing with life? But I want to talk about my workout mindset when I'm having rough weeks. Just weeks where you're a bit tired, maybe sadder. And my workout mindset is I still go, but I'm just a bit more careful and I'll cater my workouts and movement at the gym to be what I need during that day. The reason I still go is because going to the gym and continuously showing up for yourself is how you actually build confidence. That's how I built my confidence. I just showed up relentlessly until eventually I was like, oh, I do this. But that being said, during those harder workouts, I'm okay with modifying the workout to the level that I need. So I still show up, I'm there at the gym, I'm not feeling super hot, but I'll just modify the workout to the level that I need, if at all. I'll still push myself, but the weight that I move or the body weight exercise that I perform might need to be adapted a little bit. So for example, yesterday I trained upper body and I modified pull-ups to bar-assisted pull-ups because your girl was not having it. And instead of benching my normal weight, I dropped about 5 to 10 pounds. And that was the level that still pushed me and challenged me, even if it wasn't the normal weight that I can push. But it was still me showing up and doing the reps. And this is the type of thing that just helps build confidence. When you're consistent, you show up for yourself, even if you don't like it, even if you don't feel your best, whatever way you feel, you still show up for you. And you still stick to the plan, even if you're modifying your workout slightly. And I've actually heard people bragging about how the bare minimum is just showing up to your workout and hitting 100% of what you planned. And that's nice in theory, but that actually is pretty demotivating. And that was really demotivating for me in the past. Some days you just don't perform 100%. So expecting yourself to is just setting yourself up for failure. So now my expectation is that I show up, I try, and I do what I can if I have a workout planned. And honestly, a lot of times after my warm up and like 1 to 2 exercises, I feel 100% again. But that's how I handle demotivation and more challenging weeks when I'm not feeling it at the gym and in my workouts.